This video will be about the document window, and we're going to focus on the various functionalities of the document window so you can have a better understanding of how it operates. As you can see here, the document window has a variety of different icons across the top, as well as in this case I've put some text in there already for us to be able to work with. If we take a look at the panel across the top left, we see that it's split into three different functionalities. Right now we're in the design view. This is the view that you'll probably work in most often because this is where you'll have the more WYSIWYG, that is, what you see is what you get kind of approach, and it'll make it much easier for you to work with it. And you see exactly in the window what the eventual web page will look like. But we can also click on the code view and see that it will show us the code for the page. Notice that there are line numbers down the left side and that the code is represented in blue and that the actual presentation of text in this case is represented in black. So it should be relatively easy for you to figure out what is a code and what is actual text. You also have the added advantage of clicking on any of the numbers, and it will then highlight all that text that the number represents. So that will also help you be able to determine what is the difference between code and text. Code also, as you see, will have tags at the beginning and at the end of it. So in this case it has the paragraph tag here, and then this is the break tag, and in other lines you will see different tags depending on what it is that needs to be displayed and how it needs to be displayed. The split view gives you the capability of being able to see both the code up here in the top area as well as the design view, which is down here. By pulling down this pane, you'll be able to see more of the code view at the same time, and you can scroll up and down to see the whole page, and you can scroll up and down to see what the HTML page looks like. Again, you still have the same functionality of being able to click on numbers to be able to see the text that represents. Notice when I clicked on this number that the paragraph that is in the HTML page was highlighted also, and this is a good way for you to be able to determine what text is going to be impacted and how it gets impacted and what code tags are placed around that text. So if I wanted to do something fairly simple right now by changing the font style to make it bold, you can see that now it has appeared bold in the document half of the window, and up here in the code view you can see that the strong tag has been placed at the beginning of the paragraph and the \strong tag has been placed at the end of the paragraph. So in this way you should be able to fairly easily pick up on what the HTML commands are related to each of the functionalities that you apply to your design window. So let's look a little more closely at the document window to get a better understanding, especially what the toolbar items are across the top here. First, I'm going to turn off the boldface for this text here so that we don't have that bothering us anymore. And I'm going to close up the split so it's a design, and I'm going to turn that off there. Okay, so let's focus across the toolbar here at the top. This first item here is the title field, and this is where you place the title of the page for this document. And so in the homework assignment I'm asking you to put your name in there so that you know that you and I both know that you've done that work. But when you create a real website, as you will later in the term, you want to put descriptive names in here that describe what the contents are of your page. And the reason they need to be descriptive is because when users will read your page, if they want to bookmark it, the title that you'll see in the title bar will represent to them in their bookmark what the contents are. So be sure to choose something that's very descriptive when you're giving a name to for your page. The other thing you need to notice about the title is that there is an asterisk here, and the asterisk in Dreamweaver represents the fact that you haven't saved your document in a while. So whenever you see that asterisk on your title bar, that means that you need to save your work, and you should do so. So let's go to the icons across the bottom here. This icon represents file management on a server, and it's a little early in the game for me to be showing you too much about that. You'll get that later in the class. But for right now, just know what that icon represents. This icon allows you, when you click, to choose a particular browser to preview your work in one of the browsers that you have set up. And it's good to test your work in many different browsers as you can. So make sure that you've loaded those browsers onto your hard drive, and make sure that you have them added to the list by choosing Edit Browser List. The next icon represents the ability for you to be able to refresh your design view. So whenever you're in the design view and you're thinking the various tags you've added and commands that you've done haven't worked properly, just click on that or press F5 on the Mac to correct it. This gives you a variety of different ways to look at the content of your window. And the thing you need to know about this icon is that it's context sensitive. So the menu choices that I have here when I'm in design view are different than when I am in the code view. Notice that the choices now are completely different, and this allows you to turn on and off, say, word wrap in the code view. Some people like to have it off because they want to be able to focus on the code, and it's quicker and easier, not as many lines to scroll down to see it. Others prefer to see it closer to the way it really is. So you can change these. Just be aware that if you do something like change the line, turn off the line numbers, then you're going to need to turn them back on again when you want to find them. So don't panic. Just remember that this View Options icon is the choice to be able to do that. So we're just about finished with this long video, and I just got 3 more icons, so I'm going to breeze through them quickly. First, this icon that I'm pointing to now is the Visual Aids icon. It's grayed out in this view because I'm not in the design view, I'm in the code view, and it only works when you're in the design view. And if you'll notice here, it allows me to be able to display what is normally invisible in the design view, and those are things like table borders and frame borders and image maps and so forth. These are things that you're going to learn about later in the course, but be aware that it'll display these to make it easier for you to manipulate your tables and your image maps and see them on the page while you're working with them. The next icon over is the Validate Markup icon, and that allows you to run a test to make sure that the current document's code and tag structure is all correct and will work fine in your page. So if you're uncertain about that, you can click to validate the current document. It'll open a brief little a small window here at the bottom that then will validate, and it found no errors or warnings in this particular document, so mine looks good so far. And the last icon here checks the browser compatibility, and clicking on that and selecting settings will allow you to choose the target browsers and their versions if you wanted to check against various versions. And all you're doing, or you can turn them off. For example, Internet Explorer for the Macintosh is no longer really available, so I could turn that choice off. Netscape is a browser that's pretty old and not being used very much, but you could still check it. So there you have it, and you notice that when I select it and click on OK, then it's going to run it and say the results. So that concludes this video about the document window and the icons and functionality at the top of the window. The next video will focus on the functionality and icons at the bottom of the window. So until then, I'll see you later.